Conor McGregor came up with whiskey brand proper number 12. Boom, a $600 million transaction. The Rock had Terramana Tequila, which is currently valued at almost $4 billion. At the age of 20, Kylie Jenner appeared on the cover of Forbes as a billionaire. Mr. Beast will likely be a billionaire. The entire economy has changed right now. The previous century was all with power, and by power I mean something like energy. The richest people in the previous century were based on oil. All of the largest businesses were in the energy sector. Today, 4 of the top 5 most successful corporations in the world were not founded on the old oil, but rather on the new oil, which is attention. The general public's attention is being pumped and drilled every day. You have ears that are open 24 hours a day. Your eyes are open for 24 hours every day. Thus, the goal of the battle for our thoughts is to seize as many of those hours from as many individuals as we can. For me, the subject matter is all about, say, fostering human connections.
For a lot of us, the first superpower that the internet gave us was the ability to connect with the whole world at once.
Every person's eyes and ears working together round the clock represents the whole amount of effort that exists. They are fighting over that pie, which is what it is. Those who are building the platforms on which other businesses can drill. They have effectively taken over the entire digital landscape, have engulfed the globe, and are actively purchasing the available real estate of human attention. To get stuff for us, the oil tycoons had to go and purchase a state, bargain with the farmer, and negotiate. In the modern society, people simply accept things without bartering. Attention is the new oil because scarce resources are the things that are most valuable. Previously, oil was the scarce resource, but today attention is the scarce resource. At the time, Huda Beauty sold a portion of her creation for $600 million. Today, it is worth over $1 billion. Conor McGregor came out with proper 12. It was a $600 million deal a year later. Followed by a drink of Terramana Tequila, today worth almost $4 billion. I kept seeing this over and over till I was like, I believe something that isn't true. I thus discussed the 3 factors that prevent entrepreneurs from succeeding: talents, beliefs, and character qualities. This particular factor affected me since it related to a worldview I held but did not actually operate in accordance with. I constantly look for those things because they shape our reality and our decisions are influenced by what we take to be true. I was essentially wandering in an unreal reality. I then read Naval Ravikant's book, his Almanac, which is incredibly wonderful and easy to read, and in it he discussed the 4 different sorts of leverage. The difference between what you put in and what you receive out is called leverage. Everyone puts in the same amount of time, it's only a matter of who gets the most out of that time that determines who has the greatest leverage. And compounding refers to whether the trade you just made using leverage will continue to grow by itself and earn you additional money. Here is Naval's triangle of leverage. Labor. Because compounding is a sort of leverage, you can convince other people to perform things for you even though you already have the labor, which means you'll gain more of your time back and produce more. You have capital over that. As a result, you receive financial assistance from others, invest that money, and as a result, gain leverage. Code, which includes software, and media make up the final 2 layers. Consider this: if you write a piece of code that 10 million people can use, you have leverage. You invest one time, and you earn limitless returns on the other. The same is true of media. One person, 1 million people, or 100 million people could watch this film in the time it takes me to create it, giving it leverage. But when I realized that, everything became clear to me as to why these people were given these absurd sums of money when they had. For example, I had read that Kylie had a team of 7 and was making $200 million a year. And I realized I didn't have anything that compounded when I looked at my own businesses at the time, since she had a compounding leverage vehicle built into her firm. Warren Buffett was able to create Berkshire Hathaway because money grows and grows and grows on its own. And if you keep rolling the snowball over a long enough period of time, say 40 or 50 years, you end up with a sizable snowball. One of those 4 leverages needs to be unlocked. Do you want to provide true business education to everyone? If I say that's what I really want to do, then my actions must reflect that. They are just meaningless words if not. I detest working on projects that I won't be credited for afterwards, so the concept of creating a short that will be broadcast today and then vanish into thin air the next day, or creating an Instagram post that will be deleted after a week makes me angry. I was unable to make use of my time, which is a limited resource, by having it disappear. My realization that the content is not the outcome was a significant belief for me. The input is that. The audience is the product, and the audience is what makes the product compound and stick. You are accumulating a limited resource, and the audience is what continually pushes attention. You have Mr. Beast, who I believe started a restaurant in a neighborhood and attracted 10,000 customers. People may not be aware of he's 24 years old and media compounds. I'll predict that he will have a sense of billionaire status, not just a sense of billionaire status, so mastering the media is a significant way to gain leverage. Because if Mr. Beast or Kylie can just point, you'll have 100 million people buying everything. You run $1 billion plus business, but once I realized that, I stopped considering it a waste. Instead, I believed that the goal was to reach as many people as possible with my posts, tweets, videos, and other content. They converted attention into money, but how? Number 1. They waited for quite some time. They spent a lot of time establishing it and gathering that attention because they knew that the moment they did decide to monetize it, it was already there. This is why Huda, The Rock, Conor McGregor, and Kylie were able to convert their attention into money. Consider how long The Rock had been developing his brand before inking his contract with Under Armour, before he created Termana, before he created ZOA, 20 years. People complain and take offense at the fact that they posted content for 4 weeks and are still unknown. The bigger the plane that can take off from the runway, the bigger the ass may be when you finally get there. Number 2. They successfully monetized on-brand content. Their target audience is already into this. Given that fitness is a fundamental component of his brand, The Rock having a contract with Under Armour makes perfect sense. Under Armour sought to identify their brand with something similar to all of that. The biggest brands in existence are those that celebrities promote. We aren't able to be Kim Kardashian. Kim cannot be a girl. Kim is the epitome of prestige, so Dolce & Gabbana signs her and tells her to wear their clothing. People then see Kim's status and identify it with Dolce & Gabbana, and a young woman with money but no status trades it for a bag she can use to get status by being associated with Kim. The game is that. Let's examine LeBron James and Nike. They wanted to sign him because they believe he will become legendary, and they wanted to equate triumph with someone who had won. A brand is not a person since it cannot succeed on its own. They had to choose the individuals who best represented the essence and core principles of their company. People associate the brand with the thing they could never do but always aspire to once they create the endorsement and the association in their minds. You look at Rogan for the most famous persons. He has UFC. Additionally, he is a pretty talented comedian who adores the comedy scene as well as biohacking, supplements, and other related topics like brain science. Aliens and UFOs are very distinct from one another. However, the more facets a person can explore in depth, the more comic audiences they will attract, and the more fighting audiences they will attract. Because of the total pollination that ultimately compounds the audience even faster, these megastars delve deeply into numerous topics in order to draw ever larger audiences that compound on themselves. They wait because they are devoted to the brand before appealing to a subset of their audience or attempting to diverge from the group that appeals to the greatest number of them. I took much too long to recognize how fundamentally the game had altered. The Rockefellers were founded on oil, while the next generation will be founded on attention. The cost of media will only rise over time. Costs associated with creating content and advertising are rising. It grows more fragmented, raising the cost of doing it across several platforms. The value of the audience increases. The price of attracting an audience rises in value. Therefore, the present is the ideal time to begin. People who are capable of doing these 3 things will be the ones to become the new billionaires, etc. They must be able to draw in, maintain, and increase the amount of attention that is paid to them.